Welcome to Learning Assessment and Digital Tools. I'm your host, Frederick Coonrod. In this presentation, we will review insights from Wiggins and McTeague's Chapter 7, Thinking Like an Assessor. We'll also review insights from Wiggins and McTeague's Chapter 8, Criteria and Validity. We'll review currently available digital tools and apps for learning assessment that were previewed in this week's resources. And we'll look at one assessment tool in depth. Chapter 7 of Wiggins and McTeague's book focuses on Stage 2 of Understanding by Design and asks teachers to think like assessors before thinking like activity designers. The main idea is that assessment should be planned by starting with the desired learning outcomes and deciding what evidence would convincingly show that students truly understand. Assessment is framed as evidence of learning rather than a tool for grading. Understanding must be demonstrated through performance and application, not assumed from recall or test scores alone. The authors use a judicial analogy. Students are considered innocent of understanding until they provide enough evidence to prove they have it. No single assessment is enough. Effective assessment requires a balance of evidence, including performance tasks, quizzes, observations, and reflections. Performance tasks are especially important because they reveal whether students can transfer learning to real or realistic situations. The chapter contrasts two approaches. Thinking like an assessor starts with evidence and goals, while thinking like an activity designer starts with lessons and hopes learning follows. When assessment is designed first, instruction becomes more focused, coherent, and aligned with the big ideas. Chapter 7 sets up three guiding questions about evidence, criteria, and validity, with a deeper discussion of criteria and readability or reliability continuing in Chapter 8. Chapter 7 includes a description of the GRASP model, a framework for designing authentic performance tasks that provide strong evidence of student understanding. It helps teachers think like assessors by clarifying what students are being asked to do, why they're doing it, and how their work will be evaluated. GRASPS is an acronym for Goal, Role, Audience, Situation, Product, and Standards. For goals, ask what is the real-world problem or challenge the student is trying to solve. The goal connects the task to a meaningful purpose beyond completing an assignment. For role, ask what role the student takes on in the task. This positions the student as a practitioner such as scientist, advisor, analyst, or designer. For audience, ask who the student is communicating with or creating a product for. A clear audience increases authenticity and shapes how students present their work. For situation, ask about the realistic context or scenario that frames the task. This provides constraints, urgency, or conditions that mirror the real-world challenges. For product or performance, ask what the student must do or create to demonstrate understanding. This is the observable evidence used for assessment. For standards and criteria for success, ask how the work will be judged. Criteria clarify expectations and align the task with learning goals and standards. Overall, the instructional design takeaways leads to the idea that GRASPS helps shift assessment from recall-based tasks to authentic performance tasks that reveal transfer of learning. Clear roles, audiences, and situations make assessments more meaningful and engaging for students. Designing the product and criteria first strengthens alignment between goals, assessments, and instruction. GRASPS supports equity by making expectations transparent and reducing guesswork for students. When used in early planning, GRASPS naturally guides the selection of learning activities that prepare students for success. Chapter 8 builds directly on Chapter 7 by asking not just what evidence we collect, but how we judge the quality of that evidence. Wiggins and McTeague emphasize that strong assessment requires clear criteria that describe what quality understanding looks like, especially for open-ended and performance-based tasks. Criteria help teachers make fair and consistent judgments and help students understand expectations before they begin the task, not after it's graded. The chapter stresses validity. Assessments must actually measure the intended learning goals rather than what is easiest to test. Evidence should align directly with desired understandings. Reliability is also addressed. While performance tasks involve judgment, shared criteria, rubrics, and examples help improve consistency across evaluators and over time. The authors caution against focusing on surface features of student work. Criteria should highlight the most revealing aspects of understanding, not just correctness or neatness. Overall, Chapter 8 reinforces assessment quality depends on alignment. Clear goals, appropriate evidence, and well-defined criteria work together to support meaningful learning. Chapter 8 is a helpful instructional design tool because it strengthens the connection between learning goals, assessments, and instruction. Wiggins and McTee show that even well-designed performance tasks can fall short if criteria for quality are unclear or misaligned with desired outcomes. The chapter helps instructional designers move beyond simply creating assessments to think carefully about what the quality of understanding looks like. By defining clear criteria, designers can ensure that assessments measure what truly matters rather than what is easiest to score. Chapter 8 also supports fairness and consistency. Shared rubrics, shared criteria, and examples reduce subjectivity and help different instructors evaluate student work more reliably. This is especially important in programs with multiple sections or instructors. Finally, the emphasis on validity improves instructional decisions. When assessments accurately reflect learning goals, feedback becomes more meaningful and instruction can be adjusted with confidence to better support student understanding. In the next several slides, we will look at 3 curated resources that highlight technology tools for student assessment. While each site approaches the topic slightly differently, all 3 emphasize the growing role of formative assessments in effective teaching and instructional design. Together, these sites show how assessment can move beyond traditional quizzes and tests and become an integrated part of instruction. The tools they highlight are designed to make learning visible while it is happening, allowing teachers and instructional designers to respond in real time rather than after instruction is complete. These resources also reflect a shift toward more student-centered assessment. Many of the tools support interaction, collaboration, reflection, and multiple ways for students to demonstrate understanding. This helps create more inclusive learning environments and provides richer evidence of learning than single format assessments. The first resource listed in this week's material is the We Are Teachers site, full of tech tools for student assessment. The site organizes 25 digital assessment tools that help teachers check student learning and support both formative and summative assessment practices. These tools are grouped by instructional goal, so teachers can choose based on what they want to accomplish. The common classroom assessment tools include Google Forms for quick exit tickets, Kahoot for game-like engagement, formerly Flipgrid for student video responses, Mentimeter for interactive polls and word clouds, and Socrative for real-time quizzes with multiple formats. The list also covers tools that support a variety of assessment types, including peer feedback and complementary platforms like Floop, and tools that facilitate rubric creation and peer assessment. These tools are useful because they save teachers time, make it easier to gather and review student responses, increase engagement through interactive features, and provide immediate or actionable feedback that can inform instruction. The tools on the We Are Teachers site are useful for instructional design because they support ongoing assessment that informs how instruction is planned, delivered, and adjusted. They allow designers and teachers to embed assessment directly into lessons through polls, quizzes, interactive presentations, and student responses, ensuring alignment between learning objectives, instructional activities, and evaluation. By offering multiple formats for demonstrating understanding, these tools promote flexible and inclusive design. They help instructional designers create responsive learning experiences that provide timely feedback, increase engagement, and reduce reliance on end-of-unit testing as the primary measure of student learning. The next resource list presented in this week's materials is from the Shake Up Learning 27 Formative Assessment Tools for Your Classroom website. The site presents a broad list of digital tools that support formative assessment, which is defined as assessment that informs instruction rather than just measures learning outcomes. The emphasis is on tools that help teachers gather real-time feedback and actionable data that they can use to support students during learning. The list includes tools with different features and purposes, giving teachers many options depending on their needs. Examples from that list include tools that let teachers assign content and collect data immediately, such as assessments, video-based tools like Edpuzzle that allow instructors to embed questions directly into multimedia content, collaborative and interactive platforms like Jamboard and Padlet that let students share ideas, games like quiz platforms such as Kahoot and Quiz that make checking understanding engaging, and tools that work without student devices, such as Plickers, where teachers scan student responses in class. These tools are useful for teachers because they help instructors get timely feedback about student learning and challenges, allow adjustments before misconceptions can be entrenched. Many are engaging and student-friendly, increasing participation and motivation. The variety means teachers can choose tools that fit different instructional goals and contexts, whether for quick checks, deeper reflections, collaborative responses, or interactive content. These tools help designers create responsive learning experiences that adapt to student needs in real time, promote engagement, and reduce reliance on summative assessments as the primary measure of learning. The next resource list presented in this week's materials is from the Common Sense Education Top Tech Tools for Formative Assessment site. The list highlights a variety of digital tools that help teachers check for understanding during instruction, gather feedback from students in real time, and adjust teaching based on that feedback. These tools fall into categories such as quizzing, polling, student discussion, interactive lessons, video responses, and portfolios. The list includes tools for collaboration and polling in the classroom. For discussion and collaborative feedback, tools like Piazza and Today's Meet support class discussions and let students share ideas or questions digitally in real time. For quizzes and polling, platforms such as Kahoot help teachers run live quiz games where students answer questions on their devices and teachers see results quickly. Tools like Nearpod and Flipgrid allow teachers to embed quizzes and questions into interactive lessons or student video responses. This makes it easy to gather formative data as students engage with content. These tools make formative assessment more efficient by automating data collection and allowing teachers to see student understanding in real time. These tools support intentional alignment between learning objectives, instructional activities, and assessment by embedding checks for understanding directly into the lessons. They also encourage active engagement in multiple ways for students to demonstrate thinking, which leads to more inclusive and responsive instructional design that can adapt to learners' needs as they emerge. Overall, these three websites emphasize the value of formative assessment tools as a way to make learning visible during instruction and to support responsive teaching and instructional design. Each resource highlights how digital tools can provide timely feedback, increase student engagement, and help educators align assessment with learning goals rather than relying solely on end-of-unit testing. Across all three sites, a key similarity is the focus on real-time feedback and student-centered assessment. The tools consistently support quick checks for understanding, multiple response formats such as text, audio, and video, and opportunities for interaction and reflection. Now, let's take a look at one specific digital tool that helps me with formative assessment assignments for where I work, which is at a medical school. The one I want to highlight is not actually one that we looked at on the list, but it is one I use frequently with third and fourth year medical students. Magic School AI is an online platform that uses artificial intelligence to support both educators and students in educational settings. The main goal is to help teachers be more efficient with planning and instructional work while giving students the tools to learn and build skills with AI. For teachers, it provides AI-powered tools to help with things like creating lessons plans, generating assessments, writing feedback, making rubrics, and personalizing learning materials. Best of all, though, anyone can get a free basic account, which includes a tool for formative writing assessment. For medical students, they can use the writing feedback tool to review personal statement drafts for clarity, organization, tone, and alignment with professional expectations in medical education. The tool provides targeted feedback on structure, word choice, and coherence, helping students strengthen their narrative without rewriting it for them. It allows students to identify unclear sections, repetitive ideas, or weak transitions that may reduce the message impact of their personal statement. This process is necessary because personal statements play a critical role in residency and program selection, and clear, reflective writing helps evaluators better understand a student's motivation, professionalism, and readiness for medical training. The writing feedback tool is integrated into the personal statement assignment as an early step, allowing students to submit drafts and receive immediate feedback on clarity, organization, tone, and professionalism. Students use the feedback to revise their drafts before submission, addressing common issues such as unclear narratives, weak transitions, or misalignment with professional expectations. This step encourages iterative drafting, helping students refine their ideas and strengthen their voice prior to an advisor review. Using the tool before meeting with a human reviewer ensures advisor time is spent on higher level feedback such as authenticity, experiences, and career goals rather than basic writing mechanics. It also allows the student to get real-time, realistic feedback on how well their assignment is performing. In this presentation, we reviewed insights from Wiggins and McTeague's Chapter 7, Thinking Like an Assessor. We also reviewed insights from Wiggins and McTeague's Chapter 8, Criteria and Validity. We reviewed currently available digital tools and apps for learning assessment at a high level, and then we looked at one assessment tool in depth. I hope you found some useful takeaways, and thank you for watching.